felt intimidated by the material and excited as well, because it's good to feel fear and to go out and find your way to meet it.
I read Malloy and I really didn't feel like I could do it. You know, it scared the hell out of me.
What was so interesting about playing her for me is that mostly, normally, almost all the time, I've played very exterior people. Nobody, this is almost like a silent movie for me. She doesn't talk, she doesn't dance, she doesn't but-up. It's a very interior character. I read the screenplay first, and I felt like I hadn't been in a universe like this. I had never gone to a theater and been in this particular universe, though I felt that in some part of my dream life, I felt like it was very familiar.
I was just hoping, and as I always do, that someone who's just in the right place in their life will see our material and come to me, you know, and that's exactly what happened really with Meg. I knew she would know how much the project would be asking for her to be interested in meeting, so I thought, well, you know, she must be really interested in taking a step into the deep.
There's this great thing it says in the book about how one of the requirements of being a human being is to surrender to the evolution of your soul, no matter how terrifying it might be. And Frannie, that's Frannie's journey. She's not interested for a minute in pleasing anybody, and that was so fun to inhabit that for a while. She doesn't care who likes her, and she's just going to go about her life living as authentically as possible.
I guess we both sort of felt like the relationship between men and women is topic A, you know, and getting something that was real between two people, that was a primary challenge for us.
We will have to find our way through what's love, what's romance, what's the difference.
Look, I'm wondering if you want to get a beer or something. And I got a cousin who works at a bar in Sheridan Square, and he says a lot of writers coming in. Maybe you've been there. Not now, I'm working now.
Where?
Here, 2 hours from now.
I first came across the book in the cut probably shortly after it came out in '96.
I had written 3 books that were part of a Hawaiian trilogy about my childhood. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to try something altogether new? So I spent about 2 years reading absolutely every kind of detective and crime fiction I could find, everything. And also I read a lot of pornography and a lot of erotica. I thought, what would it be like if a woman wrote a noir novel, which is customarily written by a man? And also, I was interested in writing about sex, because I didn't think it had been done much, and I didn't think it had been done very well.
They have a very hot, sexy love affair that in the end changes them both, I think.
It's pretty outrageously sexual, too, you know? So a lot of stuff I've never done on screen before.
It was like a leap into the dark, a leap into the ocean of faith, really, and I think a lot of that is required when you make a film.
If you could just kind of take the first step, it'll carry you. If you could just keep yourself open long enough for something to happen.
Just hold it there for a moment when you look at it, you know?
Jane would always say to me, no apologies. He doesn't apologize, ever. And we'd be in rehearsal, and I'd kind of, she would yell at me, no apologies, you know? And there's something really freeing about someone who never apologizes.
The character is very different than the guy, Mark Ruffalo, and this guy, Giovanni Malloy, are very different people, and that was really fun to watch. It feels like when you watch him, you can read his mind, and I would watch him take to take to take and never see the same thing.
So I was counting on the fact that it would be, you know, high risk, high opportunity for him to bring out all his reserves and for us to figure it. I hoped I would be equal as an ally in the job.
We had a 3-hour lunch meeting, and we talked about the script and the character. She cast me that day.
Mark and I also instantly felt comfortable with each other and felt we could just say things as they were.
When I met Jane, I had had a brain tumor, you know. I hadn't worked for 10 months. And I wasn't sure that I was ever going to really work ever again as an actor. And she saw that kind of brokenness. She said, you know, that's what I want to see in Malloy.
This guy is a really, really subtle, interesting actor that he has a way of melding, using himself and the qualities of the character so intricately. Yes, he's worked it out. It's not by accident it happened.
Living the dream, man.
Stand by, please. Here we go.
I just thought what a great, cool sister Jennifer Jason Leigh would be, and just to play her just as she is. She's so bright, she's so smart, and she's exquisitely sexy and feminine.
I was, you know, stunned and incredibly excited when I got the script.
She's lovely and fun and inventive and just really game.
I met Kevin. I just thought, you know who would be a great gift to this project if he would do it. And maybe it would be really it would work for Kevin too, because it's such a different character he usually plays.
But one of the things that I liked about the character is in just a handful of scenes, you get a chance to see somebody who's progressively kind of unraveling.
Thanks for the company.
I'm sorry it's so excruciating.
I mean, really, I just got a group of pretty amazing individuals who brought a lot of themselves to it. I think I feel lucky to have a film like this and this size of budget, because it is an opportunity to really afford to introduce. In fact, we have to introduce new people, and I think it's an obligation and a privilege.
Shoe chimes.
A new word.
What made me choose Sharif was that he's just kind of such a big guy. I mean, in a way, he's got the kind of physique of a boxer like Mike Tyson, and he could be really scary. But on the other hand, he's so sweet.
I mean, I can be a darling. I can be charming. Please forget about it. But I can be a badass also. And as far as just Cornelius and his emotions, I mean, I'm a black man. I got emotions, you know? So all my scenes are with Meg, so she gave me understanding. Like, she recognizes that this is my first film, and she's taking her time with me. You know, she's not that whole diva type. She's not that at all. She's like, hey, you're doing great. She's making me comfortable so I can, you know, give her what she needs, and she gives me what I need, and so we can make this movie together, you know?
Yeah. Second gate, please. Second gate.
You know, she's coming together with me, so she's wonderful. So it was pretty cool. It was a good day.
Okay, set line for picture, please. Clearing, please. Looking this way, folks.
For Detective Rodriguez, I was looking for something fresh, something different, something just, I don't know what to look for, just something that would attract my attention. And Harvey Keitel knew Nick, and Nick is a kickboxer instructor as well as an actor and a trainer, and he's just so New York. People from New York even meet him and go like, oh my God, this guy should be kind of in a museum.
Jane approached me and said, I'm doing a movie in New York and there's a character, da-da-da. She pitched it to me, and we auditioned. She did videotapes of me and Mark doing some improvs. And within 2 weeks, I knew I had the part.
We researched. We found the two real cops that the characters are based on, and they told us that the one guy, the Rodriguez character, got his gun taken away from him because his wife pressed charges against him for something, and he would carry around a water pistol.
Well, there was an awful lot of preparation that we did separate before we even met.
We had real poetry professors, and we had real linguists, and we had real detectives. We had real sexual experts. We researched everything to the nth degree.
We hung around with all these detectives, drank with them, you know, talked women with them, got to know them pretty well. And so we all were working really hard to get that honest. And then all the extras went to one of our detective advisors, led a detective school. You know, Jane had all this improvisation going on about, you know, little fights and inner workings and backstory and all that. So there's that whole scene happening, and that whole life is going on during the course of that scene, and we didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
No, you can do whatever you want. You tell anybody I curry coke, curry cook, curry tofu, I'll fucking kill you.
Our first meeting was kind of an improvisation in character.
That one night we went over to Jennifer's apartment, and both Nick D'Amici, who plays Detective Rodriguez, and Mark came over to Jennifer's apartment in character.
Our assignment was to go over there in character and do a canvas, which is like an interview, a cold call, knock on a door. You know, there's been a homicide in the area, we'd like to talk to you about it.
And none of us really knew each other at that point, so we didn't know who was playing a character, who was just being a person. You know, you're really having to scope it out. Jane was improvising a lot, and she's a tremendous improvisational player.
But there's something else that's going on that's really the most important thing, and that is it's all a big distraction while you go through the exercise of trust. Somehow we've got to get to a place where they're going to, I want to make them comfortable to reveal whatever they want to about themselves and the character.
And that's exciting. You don't get to work like that too often. And you certainly don't get to work with a director who's capable, who has a strong enough vision and an experience and confidence enough to bring it in and focus it and make a story out of it all, you know?
I'm just like the biggest Jane Campion fan, you know. I've admired her forever, and Sweetie was a huge inspiration for me, and like all my work, and a big inspiration for me with Georgia. It was my favorite movie forever and ever, and I loved the piano, and I had met her a few times, and I just think the world of her.
She asks really deep questions, and she's more interested in pondering the question than getting any kind of answer. Truly, she's just like an atomic bomb going off in my life and also in my creative life. She just completely rearranged my molecules and my whole idea of what to expect from a filmmaking experience.
It's unreal how open she is. I think I want Cornelius to be this way or be that way. I'm gonna take it to Jane. I take it to Jane, and she's totally like, yeah, cool. I think you're right. Well, you know, you're Cornelius, so, I mean, if you think that Cornelius would say this or do that, then that's what it is. And it's just like, yeah, you're right, that's what she's serious. You know, I'll get on my phone like, I made a suggestion and she went with it. Like,
oh, you are so sexy. Help me put my earring back in, come here.
This dude is crazy.
Roll down. Are we gonna go up onto the sidewalk?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
We get on there sort of immediately?
Everybody loves the idea of shooting a movie in New York, but very few people get to do it. It's such a great city, and it's a great place to work.
The city is totally unpredictable, completely unrestrainable, and it's just been dark and joyous and the perfect reflection of the film.
The idea was to shoot it entirely in New York, and there's an enormous amount of resistance to that within the industry because it's really hard to shoot here, and it's complicated, and it's expensive, and it's messy.
The streets that we shot on around the village and in Tribeca, we chose streets definitely that had a lot of red brick and that served our palate well, and occasionally we had to take away things, but there was a unity between the story and Jane's desire of a warm, real New York and what's actually there.
New York, well, especially the lower half, because our story happens there, is our set, and it's full of life and stuff's happening all the time. And once you realise that, you think, God, you know, everything we see and hear and feel here is our part of our story. It can be, and I think it's the best thing that happened to us.
Take 4, Margaret. Will you have sex with me? That's right. I'm out of my fucking mind. Will you have sex with me?
Excuse me.
We were looking for a kind of poetic realism, and I think is kind of cinema verite approach to shooting the film, not wanting shots to be constructed, but rather to have them be quite loose and let the acting dictate the camera.
You see, I started paying attention to films that came out in the 70s, which was a fantastic era for cinema, the best, like just classic. And just doing some research and looking back at those films, what I fell in love with was the style of acting, which has kind of changed since then, where there was a lot of just being, and you relaxed and you let the story tell the story, and the actors had no sense of responsibility for indicating or pointing to things that were coming up. That's the story's job. It'll take you through. I mean, nothing I'm doing is new. It's all been indicated or seen or, you know, discovered or created before. all I'm doing is I'm just putting it together for a new story in a different time.
For me and for Jane too, it was just about so many things that we get as women, probably men too, but we get so sidetracked by romance, and we forget to look for the lasting thing and the thing that is most true. And this is, I think, Jane's real examination of those ideas.
I got a new word for you. Meow.
Is this your usual?
Are you gonna write that down? You should be paying me for this.
Meow. An expedition, usually to make trouble or to shoplift, of Brooklyn derivation.
What are house mouses?
House Mouse. A police detective on modified duty.
It's the guys who put their balls in the drawer. They don't want to be on the streets no more.
DTs. Detectives.
Detective Malloy.
Brody. To jump, usually from a building or a bridge, taken from a Mr. Brody who claimed to have jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge. Around the way, a phrase meaning in the neighborhood, as in, we'll be around the way tonight. Jammy. A gun. Ground ball. A phrase meaning something easy or simple. Dixie Cup. A person who is considered disposable. To flake. To plant evidence, usually a gun. Track. A contract, as in, I got a track to kill him.
What does broccoli mean? Depends on the context. Pubic hair or marijuana, it's a noun.
And Virginia?
Vagina, as in he penetrated her Virginia with a hammer.
Yikes.
Slang is either sexual or violent.
Or both.
But it's witty, I think it's really witty.